Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're approaching, well, a very sensitive topic, the Israel-Palestine conflict.
Absolutely. It's complex and deeply human.
And our aim here isn't to inject our own views, but really to understand the core issues as they are presented in the source material we reviewed.
Exactly. Focusing on the narrative within that source, its historical points, and its
Mhm.
take on the current situation, particularly in Gaza.
Okay, let's dive in. The source starts way back, 1948. It uses the term Nakba.
Which, as the source explains, translates to day of catastrophe for Palestinians.
And what does the source say happened then? What are the key details?
Well, the main thing highlighted is the huge displacement. The source states over 750,000 Palestinians were forced from their homes.
750,000. And the reason given in the source.
It points to the establishment of the State of Israel and the resulting expulsion, as the source puts it, of many Palestinians. It really frames it as a foundational event.
Right. And the immediate consequences described.
It talks about the loss of, ancestral lands, the destruction of many villages. And really, the source says, the shattering of Palestinian hopes for their own state at that time. A massive upheaval.
Okay. So then the source moves forward to 1967, the Six-Day War. This seems pivotal, too, in the narrative presented.
Definitely. It builds on 1948. The key outcome described is the Israeli occupation of the West Bank, East Jerusalem, and also the Gaza Strip.
Occupation. And did this lead to more displacement?
Yes, the source describes another significant wave, forcing more Palestinians into refugee camps, often in neighboring countries.
And the source mentions something specific about their return.
It makes a point of stating that these refugees, according to the material, have not been granted the right to return to their homes.
Got it. Okay, let's shift to the current situation, 2025, focusing on Gaza as depicted in the source. The language used is stark, the world's largest open-air prison.
It is. And the source attributes this description to several factors it details,
Like what?
like a severe Israeli blockade, reports of heavily polluted water supplies, it's very scarce electricity, and really limited access to essential things like medicine for, over 2 million people packed in there.
The source also talks about recurring Israeli airstrikes. What's the focus there?
Yeah, it emphasizes the impact on civilians. It explicitly mentions children, women, and the elderly being among those killed, reportedly in residential areas, schools, even hospitals sometimes, according to the claims in the source.
And the term collective punishment comes up in the source regarding Gaza's population.
Right. The source uses that term to suggest the entire population is, well, being penalized for the actions of maybe a few. That's the implication presented.
There's also a very serious allegation mentioned about weaponry.
Yes, the source cites reports and stresses these are allegations of Israel using white phosphorus in civilian areas in Gaza
And white phosphorus is described how?
as a weapon potentially banned under international law for use in such areas. It's presented as a grave concern in the text.
Wow. The overall humanitarian picture painted is devastating.
It really is. The source gives specific, harrowing examples. Newborn babies dying because incubators lose power.
Oh, terrible.
People forced to drink contaminated water out of desperation. And it underlines the idea of Gaza being completely sealed off, no way out, and very little aid getting in, according to this account.
The source also brings up the response to criticism, mentioning accusations of anti-Semitism. How does it handle that?
It acknowledges the criticism is often met with that accusation. But it argues, well, the source argues the core issue isn't about religion, but about, quote, justice and humanity.
So it frames the criticism as being about actions, not identity.
Essentially, yes. And it doubles down by using terms like collective punishment and even ethnic cleansing to describe the situation as presented in the source. Very strong language.
Okay, so let's try to summarize the narrative we've extracted from this source. It starts with the 1948 Nakba displacement.
And then the 1967 occupation
Yes.
leading to the current Gaza situation.
Yeah.
Blockade, dire conditions, airstrikes, these serious allegations about collective punishment and weapons, all framed by the source as a fundamental issue of human rights and justice, distinct from religious conflict, though acknowledging how criticism is sometimes deflected using claims of anti-Semitism.
Right. And the source itself states its purpose.
Explicitly, yes. It says it aims to awaken hearts, to educate minds, and to inspire justice for the people of Palestine. It really centers their need for basic rights and dignity as it sees it.
And it ends with a direct call to action, doesn't it?
It does. It urges people to pray for Gaza, speak for Gaza, share the story, essentially to not be silent.
And it leaves the reader with that quote, If you remain silent in the face of oppression, you have chosen the side of the oppressor.
A powerful concluding thought from the source material, yeah.
Makes you think.
It certainly does. Thank you for helping unpack the narrative presented in this source today.